What if the very things you cling to most tightly are the same things holding you back from peace? Why do we so often confuse letting go with giving up, when in truth it is the doorway to freedom? And what if, by releasing the weight of the past and expectations, you discover not loss but space for something far greater? Letting go is often easier said than done. It's one of those things that sounds simple in theory, yet in practice it can be one of the hardest challenges we face, whether it's people's past experiences or overwhelming circumstances. The act of releasing what we're emotionally attached to feels like losing a part of ourselves. But consider this, holding on too tightly often brings more suffering than the act of letting go. Ever will, learning to let go is about detaching from life itself. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that bind you. It's about embracing the Stoic principle of distinguishing between what is in our control and what is not. It's about gaining the strength to let go of what doesn't serve our purpose so we can focus on what truly matters. In this episode, we'll explore how to let go of people, situations, and attachments using insights from Stoic philosophy and modern psychology. You'll discover the power of detachment, when to step back for mental clarity, and how to set healthy emotional boundaries. Letting go is not about surrendering. It's about making room for what is essential. By releasing the things that weigh you down, you don't lose control. You gain the freedom to focus on what truly matters. By the end of this episode, you have the tools to free yourself from emotional burdens moving forward with greater peace, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Unlocking the power of detachment. When we first encounter the concept of detachment, many of us may mistakenly equate it with apathy or indifference, suggesting that to detach is to care less, feel less, or withdraw from life itself. But this is a misunderstanding. In truth, detachment is not the absence of emotion. Rather, it is the freedom that comes from releasing our need to control things beyond our power. It is the ability to preserve inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Attachment often arises from fear of losing people, situations, or even versions of ourselves. Yet, the paradox is this: the more tightly we cling to something, the more it controls us. When we become overly attached, we tie our sense of happiness to fleeting external factors such as others' opinions, outcomes we cannot predict, or possessions that may one day fade away. When these things inevitably change or disappear, we suffer. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom does not lie in controlling the world around us, but in mastering how we respond to it. Epicurus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Thus, detachment does not mean we stop caring about what matters. Rather, it means we stop clinging to life's uncertainties. It is a wisdom to adapt to life as it is, not as we wish it to be. Think of it like holding a handful of sand. If you grip it too tightly, most of it slips through your fingers. But when you hold it gently, it remains in your palm. This is the essence of detachment. It is not about pushing things away. It is about holding them lightly without allowing them to determine your inner state. To unlock the power of detachment, start by asking yourself, what am I holding on to that is causing me distress? It could be a relationship where you feel overly responsible for another's happiness, a work situation where you seek to control every outcome, or a past event that continues to haunt you. Recognizing what you are attached to is the first step toward releasing its grip on your peace. The next step is mindful acceptance. This does not mean passively accepting everything, but rather acknowledging what is beyond your control and choosing how you will respond. For example, if someone's actions are troubling you, instead of attempting to change them, focus on setting boundaries and managing your emotional response. You can care deeply for someone while maintaining healthy emotional detachment. Here is a practical exercise to incorporate into your daily routine. Take 5 minutes to reflect on one thing you are attached to that is causing you stress. Ask yourself, is this something I can control, or is it something I need to release? If it is beyond your control, practice mentally letting it go by saying, I choose to let go of what I cannot control. This simple exercise helps you train your mind to focus on what truly matters. And to shed unnecessary burdens, ask yourself, am I holding on because I genuinely care? Or is it because I fear what will happen if I release it? Fear-based attachment only leads to suffering. On the other hand, healthy detachment creates space for growth, freedom, and peace. Remember, detachment does not mean abandoning people or responsibilities. It is about protecting your inner world from the chaos of external events. It is about showing up fully in life without clinging to the outcomes. When you unlock the power of detachment, you begin to live with greater clarity, balance, and emotional resilience. You free yourself from the weight of what you cannot control, and in doing so, you cultivate a life of peace and purpose. Lesson 2. Stepping back for mental clarity. When life becomes overwhelming, when emotions surge and the mind is clouded, it is easy to react impulsively, make rash decisions, or allow stress to dominate in such moments. One of the most powerful practices you can adopt is to step back. Stepping back is not about avoidance. It is about creating a space between your emotions and your actions, granting you the clarity needed to make wise choices. In the heat of the moment, everything seems urgent. Thoughts race, emotions intensify and clear. Thinking becomes elusive, but by pausing, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, you allow yourself the opportunity to view the situation from a different angle. This pause gives you the ability to respond thoughtfully, instead of reacting impulsively out of frustration or fear. Consider a painter standing too close to their canvas. When they are too near, all they see are individual brushstrokes and imperfections, making it difficult to appreciate the full picture. However, when they step back, they gain a broader, clearer perspective of the entire work. Similarly, when we step back from a situation, we gain perspective. We see the challenge for what it truly is, rather than through the distorted lens of heightened emotion. Stepping back can take many forms: a deep breath, a short walk, or even journaling your thoughts. These small actions create mental distance, allowing your emotions to settle and your mind to regain its balance with that distance. You are better equipped to reflect on the situation and determine how to respond in a way that aligns with your principles. Stoicism teaches us that clarity arises from calmness. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events realizes, and you will find strength by stepping back. You reclaim control of your mind, refusing to let external events disturb your inner state. This is the essence of Stoic strength, not in controlling every situation, but in controlling how we perceive and respond to it. Here is a practical exercise for you. The next time you feel overwhelmed by a situation, practice the pause technique before reacting. Take a moment, 10 seconds, perhaps to pause. Breathe deeply, count to 10, or simply close your eyes in. This brief moment, ask yourself, what is the best response here? Not the quickest or easiest, but the one that aligns with your values and your purpose. This simple practice can dramatically improve your ability to make deliberate, clear decisions. Another helpful exercise is perspective journaling. When emotions are running high, take 5 to 10 minutes to write down your thoughts as though you were advising a friend in the same predicament. This practice allows you to step outside your emotions and view the issue from a more detached perspective. Ask yourself, am I too close to this to see it clearly? If the answer is yes, then step back. Give yourself the time and space to reflect. Not every situation requires an immediate response. Often, the wisest actions come after a period of calm reflection. Remember, stepping back is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. It is a conscious choice to prioritize clarity over chaos, reflection over reaction. By making it a habit to step back in moments of overwhelm, you cultivate a calmer, more thoughtful approach to life. You begin to see challenges as they truly are: temporary hurdles, not permanent obstacles. In doing so, you regain control over your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your life. When you master the art of stepping back, you do more than make better decisions. You create a life in which peace of mind becomes your natural state. Regardless of the external storms, life may bring lesson 3, deciding when to distance yourself. One of the most difficult decisions we face in life is recognizing when it is time to distance ourselves from certain people or situations. Whether it's a draining relationship, a toxic environment, or even a personal habit that no longer serves you, holding on too long can wear on your emotional health. But how do you know when it is time to create that distance and more? Importantly, how can you do so in a way that respects your values and preserves your peace? The first step in making this decision is self-awareness. Ask yourself, is this relationship or situation helping me grow, or is it holding me back? Growth often comes with discomfort, so it is important to differentiate between temporary hardship that leads to improvement and constant negativity that depletes your energy. If something consistently leaves you feeling anxious, unappreciated, or diminished, it may be time to consider creating distance. Many people hesitate to distance themselves due to feelings of guilt. You may feel responsible for the emotions of others or worry that pulling away will make you a bad person. However, the truth is that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary for maintaining your well-being. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, only our own responses. As Epictetus wisely said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Distancing yourself is not an act of abandonment, but a conscious choice to protect your emotional health. It is also important to reflect on your values. Does staying in this situation or relationship align with the person you strive to be? Often we remain in unhealthy dynamics out of habit or a fear of change. But if staying means compromising your values or well-being, it may be worth considering a different course. Remember, creating distance does not mean you are abandoning others or giving up on them. It means you are choosing to prioritize your peace and personal growth once you have decided that distance is necessary. The next step is to do so quietly and respectfully. There is no need for grand declarations or confrontations unless they are absolutely necessary. In many cases, simply spending less time with a person or gradually disengaging from a situation can be enough. This subtle approach allows you to protect your energy without causing unnecessary conflict. Here is a practical exercise. If you are unsure whether it is time to distance yourself, consider a trial separation. Set a specific period, say 2 weeks, where you intentionally limit your engagement with the person or situation during this time. Observe how you feel. Are you calmer and more focused? Do you miss the interaction, or do you feel a sense of relief without it? This trial period can provide valuable insight into whether creating permanent distance is the right choice. Ask yourself, am I staying out of obligation, or is this truly enriching my life? If the answer leans more toward obligation or guilt, it may be time to step back. Remember, you can care for someone deeply while still choosing to protect your boundaries. Distance does not erase love or respect. It preserves your well-being. Another consideration is communication. While quiet distancing works, in many cases, some situations may require an honest conversation. If the relationship is worth preserving but needs adjustments, consider expressing your feelings and setting clear boundaries. Sometimes creating distance is not about cutting ties. It is about redefining the relationship in a way that allows both parties to thrive. Remember, deciding when to distance yourself is ultimately about choosing what serves your growth and well-being. It is not about blame or resentment. It is about making room for clarity, peace, and personal development. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you open up space for healthier relationships, new opportunities, and a life that reflects your values. Ultimately, life is too short to remain trapped in situations that drain your energy. By learning when and how to distance yourself, you take an important step toward living a life filled with greater purpose, peace, and self-respect. Lesson 4. Building trust through meaningful conversations in moments of overwhelm. One of the most powerful ways to find clarity and emotional relief is by engaging in deep, meaningful conversations with trusted individuals. Human connection is not just a source of comfort, it is a path to insight, growth, and emotional healing. Speaking openly with someone you trust can help you gain new perspectives, challenge unhelpful thought patterns, and uncover solutions you may not have considered on your own. But here lies the key. Not every conversation builds trust. Shallow exchanges, or those filled with judgment, rarely lead to genuine connection. Trust is cultivated when conversations are honest, vulnerable, and supportive. When both individuals feel safe enough to share without fear of misunderstanding or criticism. It is not just about opening up, but also about listening deeply and without judgment. In Stoic philosophy, trust and open dialogue were regarded as crucial for personal growth. The Stoics valued conversations that challenged their thinking in a respectful and thoughtful manner. As Seneca once wrote, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. In other words, seek out individuals who encourage your growth, not just those who reflect your views meaningful. Conversations are not merely about venting. They are opportunities for learning, reflection, and evolution to build trust through conversation. It is essential to create an environment of mutual respect and empathy. This involves listening without interruption, validating the other person's feelings, and offering support rather than unsolicited advice. Oftentimes, people do not need solutions. They need to feel heard and understood. Simply acknowledging someone's feelings by saying, "I understand how you feel," or "I am here for you," can significantly strengthen trust. If you are seeking clarity on a challenging situation, don't hesitate to reach out to someone you trust. This might be a close friend, a mentor, or even a professional counselor. The act of vocalizing thoughts helps to organize them, and hearing an outside perspective can provide insights you might have overlooked. Be sure, however, that the person you open up to respects your boundaries and creates a safe space for sharing. Here's a practical exercise. Identify one or two trusted individuals in your life. The next time you find yourself feeling stuck or overwhelmed, reach out to them for a meaningful conversation. You might start by saying, "I have been feeling uncertain or overwhelmed about something, and I would truly appreciate your perspective," or just someone to talk to. Framing the conversation this way invites them to listen without the expectation of providing a solution. Likewise, remain open to offering support when others come to you. Building trust is a reciprocal process. It requires giving as much as it does. Receiving practice, being present, listening attentively, and offering empathy when someone shares their struggles with you. This mutual exchange deepens the connection and forms a solid foundation of trust that benefits both individuals. Ask yourself, do I have trusted individuals in my life with whom I can engage in meaningful conversations? If the answer is yes, nurture those relationships. If not, consider seeking new connections through supportive communities, groups, or professional networks where trust and open dialogue are valued. Remember, trust is not built overnight. It is cultivated through repeated acts of vulnerability, empathy, and understanding. By engaging in meaningful conversations, you not only find clarity and emotional relief, but also strengthen the bonds that support you through life's challenges in a world full of surface-level interactions. Meaningful conversations are a rare and precious gift. They remind you that you are not alone, help you see things from a different perspective, and provide the emotional support necessary to navigate difficult times. Lesson 5. Mastering emotional boundaries. Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by someone else's emotions, absorbing their stress, anxiety, or negativity as if it were your own? If so, you are not alone. Many struggle with emotional boundaries, the invisible lines that separate your emotions from the emotions of others. Without these boundaries, it is easy to feel drained, lose your sense of self, and become entangled in problems that aren't yours to solve. Mastering emotional boundaries does not mean shutting others out or becoming indifferent. It means learning to protect your emotional well-being while still offering empathy and support. When you set healthy emotional boundaries, you create a balance between caring for others and caring for yourself. You can be compassionate without sacrificing your peace of mind. Why is this important? Without boundaries, you risk taking on emotional burdens that aren't yours. This can lead to emotional exhaustion, resentment, and even strained relationships. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we can care for others, we must maintain control over our own inner world. Epicurus wisely said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This insight applies not only to external events, but also to the emotions of those around us. While you cannot control how others feel, you can control how much their emotions affect you. The first step in mastering emotional boundaries is awareness. Begin by noticing when you are taking on emotions that do not belong to you. Ask yourself, am I feeling this way because of my own situation or because I have absorbed someone else's emotions? Recognizing when your boundaries are being crossed is key to regaining control. Next practice, assertive communication. Setting boundaries is not about confrontation. It is about clarity. For instance, if a friend regularly unloads their problems on you in a way that leaves you feeling drained, you might say, I care about you and I want to support you, but I also need to take care of my own well-being. Let's talk, but can we keep it brief? This approach shows empathy while clearly stating your limits. Another helpful strategy is visualization. When you find yourself in a situation where emotions are running high, imagine a protective barrier surrounding you, something that allows you to empathize without absorbing the emotional weight. This mental practice reinforces the idea that while you can care, you do not have to carry the burden of others. Emotions here is a practical exercise. The next time you feel overwhelmed by someone else's emotions, pause and take a deep breath. Mentally separate your feelings from theirs by saying to yourself, their emotions are theirs. I can care without caring. Then focus on grounding yourself, whether through breathing exercises, journaling, or taking a brief walk. Ask yourself, am I sacrificing my emotional well-being to support others? If the answer is yes, remind yourself that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary. When you protect your emotional energy, you are in a better position to help others. Without burning out, it is also important to remember that boundaries may need reinforcement over time. Some people may not respect your boundaries immediately, but that does not invalidate them. Stay consistent. The more you practice setting and maintaining boundaries, the more others will learn to respect them, and the more you will respect yourself. Remember, mastering emotional boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-care. It allows you to be fully present for those you care about without losing yourself in the process. You can be kind, empathetic, and supportive while still protecting your own peace. When you set clear emotional boundaries, you free yourself from the weight of emotions that are not yours to bear, allowing you to live with greater clarity, balance, and inner strength. Lesson 6. Weighing the outcomes of separation. There are moments in life when distancing yourself from certain people or situations becomes necessary for your well-being. Yet making that decision is never simple. It comes with doubts, emotions, and concerns about potential consequences. Weighing the outcomes of separation is a crucial step to ensure you're making the right choice, not out of impulse or frustration, but with clarity and purpose. Distancing yourself might mean ending a toxic relationship, leaving a draining job, or stepping away from a long-term friendship that no longer aligns with your values. Whatever the case, it's essential to evaluate how this separation will impact not only your life, but also those around you. The goal isn't to escape discomfort. It is to prioritize your growth, well-being, and peace of mind. Stoic philosophy teaches us to make decisions with intention, reflecting on whether our actions align with our values and long-term well-being. Seneca wisely said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Much of the fear around separation arises from imagined worst-case scenarios. By weighing the real outcomes, rather than fearing hypothetical ones, you can make more grounded, thoughtful choices. Here's how to approach weighing the outcomes. Evaluate the emotional impact. Ask yourself, how does staying in this situation make me feel daily? If the answer is consistently negative stress, anxiety, or a sense of being stuck, then that is a strong indicator that creating distance might be beneficial. Consider your long-term well-being. Reflect on whether this situation or relationship is helping you grow or holding you back. Will staying here support your future goals and happiness, or will it continue to drain your energy? Acknowledge potential losses. Every separation comes with some form of loss. It might be emotional, social, or even financial. Be honest with yourself about what you might lose, but also ask, is this loss worth the peace and clarity I will gain? Sometimes short-term discomfort is necessary for long-term well-being. It is also important to remember that separation doesn't have to be absolute. In some cases, creating distance rather than completely cutting ties may be enough. For example, if a relationship is draining but not toxic, you might choose to spend less time with that person or engage in fewer emotionally charged interactions. This allows you to protect your well-being without severing the relationship entirely. Here's something practical you can do. When faced with the decision to create distance, try a pros and cons reflection. Take a piece of paper and divide it into 2 columns. On one side, list the benefits of staying in the situation or relationship. On the other side, list the benefits of creating distance. Seeing these factors visually can help clarify your decision. Ask yourself, am I staying because I genuinely want to, or because I fear the consequences of leaving? If fear is the primary reason, it's worth reconsidering. Often the fear of change is greater than the change itself. Once you take the step, you may find that what you feared wasn't as overwhelming as you imagined. Remember, weighing the outcomes of separation isn't about finding a perfect solution. It's about choosing the path that best supports your growth and well-being. No decision is without its challenges, but by taking time to reflect and evaluate, you ensure that your choice is intentional and aligned with your values. Letting go is rarely easy, but it's often necessary when you carefully weigh the outcomes and make a conscious decision to create distance. You open the door to a lighter, freer life. You make room for new opportunities, healthier relationships, and a version of yourself that thrives unburdened by what no longer serves you. Lesson 7. Detoxing from social media. In today's world where social media is deeply woven into the fabric of daily life, it's easy to find ourselves caught in an endless cycle of scrolling, comparing, and consuming. While it connects us to others and offers a wealth of information, social media also generates a great deal of digital noise, distractions, unrealistic comparisons, and even anxiety from constant updates. Detoxing from social media isn't about abandoning it altogether. It's about regaining clarity, focus, and true connection. By limiting its hold on your life, the issue with excessive social media use is that it keeps your mind in a state of constant stimulation. Every notification post or like provides a small hit of dopamine, reinforcing a cycle of seeking more over time. This dependence grows and silence or stillness becomes uncomfortable. However, true peace of mind doesn't come from external stimulation. It comes from being present, reflective, and content with oneself. Stoicism teaches us the importance of focusing on what truly matters. As Marcus Aurelius said, you must reclaim yourself for yourself. The world distracts you with many things. Focus on a few that matter and let the rest go. While social media can be a tool for connection when misused, it distracts us from deeper relationships, inner peace, and personal growth. Detoxing from social media can take many forms. For some, it might mean a complete break for a few days or weeks. For others, it could be as simple as setting daily time limits or unfollowing accounts that don't add value to their lives. The aim is not to eliminate social media entirely, but to regain control over how you engage with it. Here's how to begin a social media detox. Identify your triggers. Reflect on when and why you reach for social media. Is it out of boredom, stress, or habit? Understanding these triggers will help you find healthier alternatives, such as going for a walk, reading or journaling activities that provide real relaxation or mental stimulation. Set boundaries. Establish specific times during the day when you will check social media rather than mindlessly reaching for your phone at all times. For instance, you might decide to check it only after lunch or in the evening, minimizing your exposure to constant digital noise. Curate your feed. Unfollow accounts that leave you feeling inadequate, anxious, or drained. Instead, follow those that inspire, uplift, or educate you. Your digital environment should reflect your values, not undermine them. A practical step. Try a 24-hour social media detox. For one full day, avoid all social media platforms. Use that time to engage in offline activities, spend time with loved ones, work on a hobby, or enjoy quiet moments. At the end of the day, reflect on how you feel. Did you miss anything crucial? Or did you feel more present, less stressed, and more focused? Ask yourself, am I using social media intentionally, or is it using me? If you find that it's consuming more time and energy than you'd like, commit to creating healthier boundaries. Remember, detoxing from social media isn't about isolation. It's about reconnection by reducing digital noise. You make space for deeper conversations, richer experiences, and greater peace of mind. You learn to be present in your own life rather than constantly comparing yourself to the highlight reels of others. When you take control over how you engage with social media, you reclaim your time, your focus, and your inner peace. You free yourself from comparison and distraction, making room for what truly matters: genuine connection, meaningful growth, and the quiet, powerful moments that shape who you are. Lesson 8. Prioritizing your core needs in the rush of daily life. It's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Work, social commitments, and endless distractions can push aside the things that nourish your emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. But here's the truth. If you don't prioritize your core needs, no one else will. Learning to identify and prioritize what sustains you is essential for living a balanced and fulfilling life. Often people confuse wants with needs. Wants are fleeting desires like entertainment, validation, or material possessions, while core needs are deeper and more essential. These are the things that ground, fulfill, and energize you. It could be meaningful relationships, time for self-reflection, creative expression, or even simple activities like proper sleep and time spent in nature. Stoic philosophy emphasizes focusing on what is essential and letting go of what is unnecessary. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This wisdom reminds us that true fulfillment comes not from accumulating more, but from nourishing the essentials that sustain our inner peace. To prioritize your core needs, begin by asking yourself, what makes me feel truly alive and at peace? These are the things that when neglected leave you feeling drained and disconnected. For instance, if spending quality time with loved ones is one of your core needs, constantly prioritizing work over relationships will eventually lead to isolation and dissatisfaction. Once you have identified these needs, the next step is to make space for them intentionally. This could mean dedicating time each day for self-care, learning to say no to commitments that do not align with your values, or establishing clear boundaries between your work and personal life. Remember, prioritizing your needs is not selfish. It is necessary. When your needs are met, you can show up fully for the people and responsibilities in your life. Here's a simple exercise. Write down your top 5 core needs for each one. Identify one small action you can take this week to prioritize it. For example, if rest is one of your core needs, your action might be to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Each night, if creativity is important to you, you might set aside 1 hour to work on a personal project. The key is to start small and stay consistent. Ask yourself, am I living in a way that honors my core needs, or am I constantly sacrificing them for external demands? If the answer is the latter, remind yourself that no external achievement or validation can replace the sense of wholeness that comes from meeting your true needs. It's also important to release any guilt that arises when prioritizing your needs. Many feel guilty when they take time for themselves, as if they are neglecting their responsibilities. But self-care isn't neglect. It is what enables you to fulfill your responsibilities without burning out. When you prioritize your well-being, you not only improve your own life, but also show up better for those around you. Remember, life is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. By prioritizing your core needs, you build a foundation of balance, strength, and inner peace. You stop chasing after things that don't fulfill you and start living in a way that nourishes your body, mind, and soul when you make time for what truly matters. You don't just improve your quality of life. You become more present, more resilient, and more connected to your purpose. Only then can life become something not just to manage, but something to truly enjoy. Lesson 9. Embracing gratitude. And the present moment in the world constantly urging us to seek more success, more possessions, more recognition. It's easy to fall into the trap of focusing on what we lack rather than appreciating what is already present. This Relentless pursuit often leads to dissatisfaction, anxiety, and restlessness. Yet, there is a simple and powerful remedy to this gratitude. By embracing gratitude and grounding yourself in the present moment, you shift your perspective from lack to abundance, from striving to being gratitude. It is not about ignoring life's difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the good that already exists even amidst hardship. It's about appreciating the small things, a kind word from a friend, a peaceful morning, or the mere fact that you have another day to grow and experience life. When you focus on what you have rather than what you don't, you cultivate a mindset of abundance and peace. Stoicism teaches us the importance of appreciating the present. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Do not dwell on the past or dream of the future, but concentrate the mind on the present moment." The Stoics believe that true contentment comes not from what we achieve or acquire, but from fully experiencing the here and now. Gratitude, therefore, serves as a practice that helps ground us in the present, reminding us that despite life's imperfections, there's always something to be thankful for. Practicing gratitude does not need to be complex. One simple yet powerful method is to reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. At the beginning or end of each day, these need not be monumental. Often the simplest things bring the greatest peace over time. This practice trains the mind to notice the good, even when life feels overwhelming beyond gratitude. Embracing the present moment requires letting go of past regrets and future worries. The past cannot be changed and the future is uncertain. The only thing within your control is the present, the choices you make, the actions you take, and how you experience this very moment. When you let go of dwelling on what has been or obsessing over what might be, you free yourself to fully living the now. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you feel stressed or overwhelmed, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, look around, and find anything you can appreciate in that moment. It could be the warmth of sunlight, the taste of your coffee, or even the strength you've shown in handling a difficult situation. This simple act of mindful gratitude brings calm to your mind and centers. You ask yourself, am I focusing more on what's missing or what's already here? If you often find yourself leaning toward a sense of lack, make a conscious effort to shift toward gratitude. This is not about abandoning your goals or desires. It is about balancing them with an appreciation for what you already possess. Another way to stay present is through mindfulness. Whether through meditation, deep breathing, or simply being fully engaged in the task at hand, mindfulness helps you slow down and savor life's moments. It's about noticing the details, how the air feels on your skin, the sound of the wind, the texture of the food you eat. These small acts of presence bring depth and richness to everyday life. Remember, life is not lived in the past or the future. It is lived in the present. By embracing gratitude and remaining anchored in the moment, you free yourself from the endless pursuit of more and find peace in what is. You come to realize that while life may never be perfect, it can still be beautiful when you take the time to notice and appreciate it. Gratitude and presence in the end are not merely practices. They are mindsets. When you cultivate them, you create a life filled with more joy, less anxiety, and a deeper connection to what truly matters. Lesson 10. Cultivating flexibility. An adaptability life by its very nature is unpredictable. No matter how meticulous your plans or how hard you work to control outcomes, unexpected changes will always arise in those moments. When things do not go according to plan, your ability to adapt will determine whether you flourish or suffer. Cultivating flexibility is not about abandoning your goals or lowering your standards. It is about learning to adjust your approach, staying calm amid uncertainty, and finding growth in every challenge. Many people resist change because it brings discomfort. We crave stability, predictability, and control, yet rigidity in the face of change only breeds unnecessary suffering. When you refuse to adapt, you cling to the past rather than embracing the present. This resistance often leads to frustration, anxiety, and helplessness. In contrast, when you cultivate flexibility, you learn to flow with life's changes. finding new paths forward even when things do not go as planned. Stoicism provides timeless wisdom on this subject. Epictetus wisely stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle underscores the importance of flexibility, not in avoiding change, but in mastering your response to it. When you accept that change is inevitable and learn to adapt with grace, you maintain your inner peace and clarity regardless of life's challenges. Flexibility begins with a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing change as a threat, see it as an opportunity for growth. Every unexpected event, every setback contains a lesson if you are willing to find it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this challenge? This shift in perspective helps you remain open to new possibilities, rather than getting stuck in frustration over what did not go according to plan. Another key element in cultivating flexibility is developing emotional resilience. Change often triggers strong emotions, fear, frustration, or disappointment. Instead of letting these emotions control you, practice pausing, acknowledging your feelings, and then choosing a response that aligns with your values. Emotional resilience does not mean ignoring your emotions. It means processing them in a healthy way while remaining grounded and clear-headed. Here's a practical exercise when faced with an unexpected change. Practice the 3 emphases: accept, assess, adapt. Accept the change, resisting it will not. Undo it, assess the new situation, what options do you have and what can you control. Adapt by choosing the best course of action based on what is within your control. This simple framework helps you respond thoughtfully to change rather than reacting impulsively out of fear or frustration. Ask yourself, am I clinging to something that no longer serves me? Or am I willing to adapt and move forward? If you find yourself resisting change, remind yourself that flexibility does not mean giving up. It means finding a new way to continue your journey. Life is ever evolving, and your ability to evolve with it is what leads to lasting success and inner peace. Cultivating flexibility also involves being open to new perspectives and ideas. Often we become stuck because we insist on doing things in a particular way, or believe that only one path leads to success. But when you are willing to listen, learn, and try new approaches, you open doors to opportunities you may never have considered. Remember, flexibility is not a weakness. It is strength. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to adjust without losing sense of purpose. Just as trees that sway in the wind are less likely to snap during a storm, those who cultivate flexibility are better equipped to weather life's inevitable storms. Ultimately, life is a series of changes. By cultivating flexibility and adaptability, you will learn to navigate these changes with confidence and grace. You will cease to fight against what you cannot control and focus instead on what you can: your mindset, your actions, and your ability to move forward in doing so. You will build a life of resilience, growth, and lasting inner peace. Lesson 11. Fostering empathy and generosity in a fast-paced world, where the focus often lies on personal achievement and individual success. It is easy to overlook the profound impact of empathy and generosity. However, these two qualities possess the power not only to transform your relationships, but also to bring greater meaning and fulfillment to your life. Fostering empathy and practicing generosity are not signs of weakness, but expressions of inner strength and self-respect. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It goes beyond merely acknowledging someone's experience. It involves truly listening without judgment and offering genuine support. When you cultivate empathy, you deepen your connections with those around you. People feel seen, heard, and valued, which fosters trust and strengthens relationships. Stoicism emphasizes personal resilience, but also highlights the importance of contributing to the well-being of others. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "What benefits the whole benefits the individual." In other words, by acting in ways that uplift others, you also uplift yourself. Empathy is not merely about helping others. It is about creating a world where mutual respect and compassion flourish, benefiting everyone, including you. Generosity, too, is not confined to the act of giving material things. It is about offering your time, attention, kindness, and wisdom. True generosity arises from a place of abundance, not obligation. When you give freely without expecting anything in return, you cultivate a mindset of abundance and reduce feelings of scarcity or lack. Reflect on this. When was the last time you showed empathy or practiced generosity without expecting anything in return? Small acts, whether it's listening to a friend, helping a colleague, or simply offering a kind word, create ripples that extend far beyond the moment they uplift not only the recipient, but also the giver. However, fostering empathy and generosity does not mean neglecting your own well-being. In fact, empathy starts with self-compassion. If you are constantly giving without tending to your own needs, you will eventually feel drained and resentful. Therefore, it is essential to practice self-compassion, being kind to yourself when you struggle, forgiving yourself for mistakes and treating yourself with the same empathy you extend to others. Another powerful aspect of generosity is that it helps shift your focus outward when you are absorbed in your own worries giving to others. Whether through volunteering, mentoring, or simply being present, can reduce anxiety and provide you with a deeper sense of purpose. Generosity creates a positive cycle. The more you give, the more connected and fulfilled you feel. Here's a practical exercise for you. Look for one opportunity each day to practice a small act of empathy or generosity. It could be as simple as listening attentively to someone offering help when needed, or sending a thoughtful message to someone you care about. These small acts done consistently build a habit of empathy and generosity, strengthening your character and enriching your relationships. Ask yourself, am I approaching my interactions with empathy, or am I focused solely on my own perspective? If you find yourself slipping into self-centered thinking, pause and try to see things from the other person's viewpoint. This simple shift can transform the way you relate to others and foster deeper, more meaningful connections. Remember, fostering empathy and practicing generosity is not about grand gestures. It's about showing up with kindness and understanding in everyday moments. When empathy and generosity become core elements of your life, you not only improve your relationships, but also cultivate a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and inner peace. Ultimately, what truly matters is not how much you accumulate, but how much you contribute. By fostering empathy and generosity, you create a life filled with connection, meaning, and lasting impact. You don't just live for yourself. You become a source of light and strength for those around you, and in doing so, discover a deeper sense of happiness and fulfillment. Lesson 12. Nourishing your mind and body in a world that constantly demands your attention, energy, and effort. It's easy to neglect the most important foundation of a fulfilling life. Your mind and body. We often push ourselves to the limit, prioritizing external achievements over internal well-being, only to find that without proper care, our energy fades, our focus diminishes, and our peace of mind slips away. Nourishing your mind and body is not a luxury. It is a necessity for living a balanced, resilient, and meaningful life. When you take care of your body, you are not merely enhancing your physical health. You are supporting your mental clarity, emotional stability, and overall sense of well-being. Exercise, proper nutrition, and rest are not just physical acts, they directly influence how you feel, think, and respond to life's challenges. As Seneca wisely said, a sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world. The Stoics understood that a disciplined approach to caring for your body was essential for cultivating a strong mind. Nourishing your mind is also a vital part of the process. It involves more than consuming information. It's about feeding your mind with thoughts, ideas, and practices that promote growth and tranquility. Be intentional about what you read, watch, and listen to engage in practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and reflection that help calm the mind and strengthen your ability to focus and remain present. Start by asking yourself, what habits do I currently have that nourish my mind and body, and what habits might be draining me? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward creating a lifestyle that supports your well-being. For example, staying up late on social media might seem harmless at first, but over time, it can disrupt your sleep, deplete your energy, and leave your mind cluttered. In contrast, prioritizing rest, exercise, and quiet moments for reflection can have a profound impact on your mood, productivity, and resilience. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to nourish your body is through movement. This doesn't require intense workouts at the gym. It could be as simple as a morning walk, stretching, or any form of physical activity that gets your blood flowing and your energy levels up. Regular movement not only improves your physical health, but also releases endorphins, which help boost your mood and reduce stress. Equally important is nutrition. The food you consume is the fuel your body and mind rely on. Eating a balanced diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods provides your brain with the nutrients it needs to function at its best. It's not about perfection. It's about making small, consistent choices that support your long-term health. Nourishing your mind also requires quiet time and reflection. In a world filled with noise and distractions, taking time each day to be still, whether through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, helps clear your mind and strengthens your ability to stay present. These moments of stillness allow you to process your thoughts, release tension, and reconnect with what truly matters. Here's something practical you can do each day. Commit to one small act that nourishes your mind and one that nourishes your body. It could be as simple as reading a chapter from a book that inspires you, practicing deep breathing for 5 minutes, or preparing a healthy meal. Over time, these small acts compound, creating a lifestyle that supports your well-being. Ask yourself, am I treating my mind and body with the respect they deserve? If not, begin today. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup taken care of. Yourself is not selfish. It's what allows you to show up fully in life for both yourself and those you care about. In the end, your mind and body are your most valuable assets. By nourishing them consistently, you cultivate a life of strength, clarity, and inner peace. You equip yourself to face life's challenges with resilience and grace. By making your well-being a priority, you don't merely exist, you thrive. And that's when life truly becomes rich, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. Conclusion. Letting go to make room for what truly matters. Letting go is not about surrendering. It is about making space for something greater. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of what no longer serves you, whether it's people, circumstances, habits, or even outdated versions of yourself. When you release what holds you back, you create clarity, peace, and the ability to move forward with purpose. In this episode, we have explored 12 powerful lessons on how to let go and cultivate a life of greater balance and fulfillment, from unlocking the power of detachment to nourishing your mind and body. Each lesson offers a practical approach to reclaim your energy and refocus on what truly matters. Life is in a constant state of flux, but by learning to let go with grace and strength, you equip yourself to face change with courage, not fear. Why is this important? Because clinging to people, expectations, or past versions of ourselves leads only to frustration and suffering. When we learn to let go, we experience a deeper sense of freedom and inner peace. We stop being prisoners to what is beyond our control and begin living with greater presence and purpose. Here is something for you to reflect on. What is one thing you are ready to let go of today? It need not be a grand gesture. It could be a small thought, a minor frustration, or an unnecessary habit. Each small act of release creates a ripple effect, helping you to cultivate a life that feels lighter, freer, and more aligned with your core values. Remember, letting go is a practice, not a singular event. It requires courage, patience, and self-compassion. But with every quiet release, you make room for growth, connection, and a life that is more joyful. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this episode resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on what you have learned. And if you feel inspired, share with someone who might benefit from it. Let us spread the wisdom of letting go and create a community of individuals who are ready to embrace life with clarity, peace, and purpose. Until next time, stay strong, stay intentional, and most importantly, continue to let go of what no longer serves you so you can make room for what truly matters.